Good morning. We're learning as a schutz for Shleima Filgan Chaye Basarach. We are on Daf Lamed Ches Amud Beis, about 10 lines from the bottom. I think we're up to Amar Papa Mino Aminallah. We had brought the Shita. We had brought the Shita of Rabbi Yechon and Rabbi Papa, and we were operating on Rabbi Papa that he said Yesh Mehen. This is still, it's right to Rabbi Papa. Rabbi Papa was the one who had said Yesh Mehen Ketchilas of Yesh Mehen Kesayfai, talking about the three matnas dam of achatas after the first one. The first one is the one that's mechaper, and the status of the other ones is sort of, in some ways it's ketchilasa, in some ways it's kesayfa. Ketchilasa meaning that it's a fully valid zrika and it's treated like a zrika. And he listed amongst them, which some of these things are going to come up again, but one of the things that he listed, kibus, is that the Torah says, what is the pasuk? Kol asher yiga b'bsara yikdash, v'asher yiza midam al habeged, asher yiza le'etachabes b'makom kodesh. The Torah says you have to wash that which got blood spritzed on it. So we say this dam from these three hazayas after the first one, that's mechaper, are treated as dam that it's going to need the kibbutz. The mitzvah of kibbutz is going to apply to it. Then we said, we continued, according to our Papa, misal eshaya lemefagav legavai. But legabi several things, it's not, legabi four things, it's not considered, which is legabi if the owner died, and it's not a matir, and it's not mefagal, and if you take it outside, it's not going to, you're not going to be chayiv, you're not going to pass the carbon. Amr Papa. So Papa said, Mino Aminach. What do I know? He picks out of all this long list, he picks the din of nitas, that if the blood got onto the beggar, that you have to clean it off. So where does it come from that that's treated as a real hazah, that the dam is going to be treated ketchilasan, that it's dam that this mitzvah of the Torah is going to apply to it? The Tananita is minat savar ala beggar. We learned in the Mishnah, if blood spritz directly from the animal onto a beggar, ain't a ton kibbutz. That's too early. Minakaren or minayisaid, if it came from minakaren, we'll see what that means. Or minayisaid, ain't a ton kibbutz. That also doesn't need kibbutz. Which mashma that at this point the Gemara understands. Rabbi Papa says the minakaren minayisaid means that it's actually on the karen, on the four kronos of the mizbeach. Or minayisaid, when it's on the yisai, that means the shiraim when it's on the yisai. So those ain't a ton kibbutz. It's also so. Haminaroy lekaren ton kibbutz. But that which is about to go on the karen, meaning all four of the hazayas prior to the hazah, before it goes on the karen, it would need kibbutz. It has to, it's like what's her name? Who's the girl who went to the house? The three, the mama bear and the
Goldilocks.
Goldilocks, right? It has to be just right. It can't be too early minat savar. That's too early when it's coming out of the behemoth that's not yet dam kachim that has a din of kibbutz, and too late is also no din kibbutz. So Rav Papa says the Mishnah says we make a diak from the Mishnah. It said if it's on the karen, it's on the yisai, it's mashma. But if it's roy the karen and any zrika before it goes on the karen, you need kibbutz. So that's like what he said. According to what you're saying, though, the way you're being medayik, we didn't just say on minak karen. It also said minha yisaid, and that's mashma, that something that hadn't yet gone on the yisaid. The way you're being medayik, so we're saying that which hadn't yet got on the yisaid also is going to need kibbutz. But that's shirayim. Right? You zayrik the dam on the karen, and then you take the rest of the dam, and that's called dam shirayim, and you pour it on the yisayid. And the Mishnah is saying that both that which is on the Karen and that which is on the side is not toyin kibbutz. So we were medayik from the fact that which is on the Karen, that what's before the Karen is toyin kibbutz. But then we have a problem because then with that which is said about the Yisoid means also with that which is roy to Yisoid, which hasn't yet gone on the Yisoid, which is Yirayim, is also going to need kibbutz. But but we darshan asher yiza, right? That was the pasuk. Kol asher yiza ayiga b'bsara yikdash v'asher yiza midama ala beged. That which you spritz from the dam on the beged. But once it was already had hazah, then it's already done. Shirayim is after hazah. So it's sort of like we're saying that when it's on the Karen, there's no din of kibbutz. The Gemara is saying that what's even after that, the Shirayim certainly shouldn't need kibbutz. And but the Gemara, no. Hamani Rav Nechemia. There's a man, the Amar of Nechemia, who has a different view of Shirayim than the one that we're used to. We're used to think of Shirayim. It's not mechapa, and it's very sidelined as a dam. It's not really a dam of kachim. Rav Nechemia doesn't look at it that way. It's not Rav Nechemia Aimer. Shirei hadam, the Shirayim of dam shekrivam b'chutz that you brought outside. Chayiv, you're going to be chayiv chorus. There's a chayiv. You're not allowed to be makdir dam b'chutz. He says if you take the shiorei adam and you makdir them b'chutz, you're going to be chayiv because he holds shiorei adam are not so out of the picture. So the Gemara is saying that this is Reb Nechemia. Reb Nechemia is also going to say not just legabe the din that you makdir it b'chutz, which is where he brought the din from. Look at that shirayim achayiv when you makdir b'chutz. But l'chayr would also have the din kibbutz the same way on shirayim.
So chayiv chorus, right?
For being makro b'chutz, the kibbutz is not a chayiv chorus. It's an essay.
No, I mean the shirayim.
Yeah. The shirayim b'chutz to be makro b'chutz. Yeah. So the Gemara, Ema the Shama Leila Reb Nechemia. The Gemara says no. Well, how do you know? Reb Nechemia said one din. Don't extrapolate to a different circumstance. Ema the Shama Leila Reb Nechemia in halah. He said, "Legabi being mala it bachutz." That's where he said that shirayim is going to be chayiv. Mid dehave evarim ufdarim. Just like if you mala the emurim that have to be brought on the mizbeach, even though they're not ma'akev, you still could be mechayiv for being mala them bachutz. So the same thing, legabi bringing the dam shirayim, even though it's not ma'akev, bringing it bachutz. Le'enin kibbutz mishamet lei. We say legabi kibbutz. I know Rashi has a whole very complicated, different way of looking at this. This is Taisis's shot, which to me is just more direct. It's simpler to understand the shaklatar of the Gemara. So the Gemara in.
But isn't it from the pasuk of Yiza? That was a whole issue with it. But according to Nechemia, it has.
I agree with your question. I was wondering about that. How could we go from saying Yaza? So I don't know if that's why when I said that, I said it's not just from the fact that the pasuk says Asher Yaza. It's also a cheshbon that it's after Hazah, and we said already that after Hazah, once it's on the Karen, you're not going to be chayiv. So why should it go re-engage again and then again be chayiv, be mechayiv kibbutz? But yeah, I agree with your question. The way the Gemara says it. I didn't see that Rashi said it's just an asmachta. Okay, Zak Gemara in. Yeah, we said no. We do have a raya that Rav Nechemia says it as far as kibbutz as well. But Tanya, Rashi says benichasa. We have a brisa that shows that Rav Nechemia says. Legabi kibbutz as well that it will apply to shirayim. Dam hatuun yisoid tuunin kibbutz. Dam. At this point, the Gemara understands dam hatuun yisoid means dam that is shirayim and needs to be put on the yisoid. Tuunin kibbutz, it needs kibbutz. So you see clearly that we're saying that it also needs kibbutz. Umachshava mayelis behen, and a machshava will be effective to make it piggle on shirayim. And someone who brings it b'chutz is chayiv. But the Brisa continues with dam hanishpachim la'ama, but the dam that's past the point of shirayim, or dam psulim, or the dam that doesn't become shirayim, it's not the dam from the kli that got a din of shirayim. Ein tu'un kibus, it doesn't need kibus. Ve'ein machshava me'elos ben, machshava is not going to be a fagel. Amalim b'chutz potter. So the Gemara says, man shamalei da amar ma'ala mehem b'chutz chayiv. Reb Nechemi b'kama ti'on kibus. So we see that the Reb Nechemia is l'chayra the man, the Amr over here who's saying shirayim needs if you bring it b'chutz yechayev. So he's also the same man, the Amr from this brisa who says ton kibus. I don't know why we have to say all this. Like it's a little. I think the reason why Rashi has a different shot is because what do we care that it should be Reb Nechemia? We're saying that bring a ride. This is Reb Nechemia. Whoever this Tana is, that l'chayra could be the Tana who's answering our question. He's a Tana who says that you need kibus on shirayim, whoever it is. So, yeah. Zak the Gemara. But the Gemara asks a question that I hope was bothering you. Umachshava me'elis behen. On shirayim, is machshava make a pigel? Right? We said three things. We said that damam hatu'unin yisaid, which is shirayim, damam that belongs on the yisaid, which is shirayim. We say that that if you bring it outside and you do kibus, it's going to be treated as dam, and you're going to be chayiv, and you're going to need kibus. But it also sticks in that machshava me'elis, and you can have machshavas pigel or machshavas chutzum kaimai to pass the carbon. Whoever heard of such a thing that you could have a machshavas pigel on shirayim? We know it's only on before you have a kapara. But Tanya, yatsu shirayim v'aktar seimurim she'ein ma'akvan esapara. We were mitzi. We had this earlier that shirayim and haktar seimurim. If you have a machshava on them, she'ein ma'akvan esapara. Neither of them are ma'akev. If you don't do them, they're still going to have a kapara. The kapara happened previously. And machshava is not going to help by that. But machshava is pigel, machshava is chutzum carbon, not going to pass the carbon and make you chayiv karas. Zak Gemara, kitanya ahi b'shalosh matana shebechatas. Gemara says no. So what the Brisa said, damatum yisoid, it didn't mean shirayim. It meant the three matanas of a chatas after you had the first matana that gives you kapara. These three kaparas that we've been talking about, that what are their status? That we had Rav Yechon and Rav Papa said their shitas about it. We're talking about those three matanas, and that's what we're saying. Tu'unin yisai, tu'unin kibus, machshava me'elis ben. Like we said, like that was, yeah. Now
So what these three? Why are we calling them that they need the yisoid? They don't.
Right. So it means that they're. We're going to see in the second. That's what the Gemara is going to ask right now. Ihachi tu'unin yisoid lekeren azli. How could you say it's tu'unin yisoid? It has to be put on the. It has to be put on the keren, the dam of the chatas, the zrikas chatas, dam that's in the kli doesn't go on the yisoid. It's not shirayim. Certainly not yet. Hold on a second. Why are we saying the shalosh matanos shebechatas are mefagel? We said it's not mefagel. I don't know. I'm a
In
little
this
confused.
price, we said it.
What?
In this price, so we said it. Wasn't that the whole question?
Whether it's mefagel?
Yeah.
The shalosh chatois, the three later chatois. We said loy shariyev loy mefagel.
Right. But
So how did we help matters by saying we're talking about shalosh matanos shebechatas? You said tunin kibus a machshava me'elis ben. How is machshava me'elis ben? I don't know. How do we help the? Oh no, the Gemara is going to ask a question. That's the Gemara's question. I'm sorry. But first the Gemara asks, Hachi tunin yisoid lekeren asli. How could you say it's tunin yisoid? It's going on the keren, which is what you asked. The lashon is not right. Ema nit onen yisoid. That eventually they're going to need yisoid. That means that their destiny, once it's in the klisharis, whatever doesn't go on the yisoid, or that it will eventually end up, it will drip down onto the yisoid. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but it means it's going to eventually be on the yisoid. But now the Gemara asked a question that was just bothering me a second ago. I forgot the Gemara asked it because it put in this intermediate question before. We said that it's not mafagel. So our whole problem was machshava. So you said it's not shirayim, it's a shalosh chatoyis, shalosh matanos of achatas after the original one that was machaper, but that also is not mafagel. El kitanyahi b'dam mapnimin. The Gemara says no. Going back to tunin yisoid is not referring to the shalosh nesinas of achatas. It's talking about shirayim like the lashon is mashma. But it's talking about of the pnimim, like we had back on Amid Beis. We said the pnimim, the shirayim of a pnimim al yisoid is ma'akav. Right? The pnimim are all the different we're going to go into the psukim on the next Amid. All the different, the par al davar shel tzibur and the par kohen gadol and the par v'sor of Yom Kippur, all of them, and the sir avodas kechavim, all of them, you bring the dam on the mizbeach hazav in the heichal, but the dam of the shirayim goes to the yisoid on the mizbeach in the chutz in the azara, and that is ma'akav. So tomorrow, so what are you saying? The reason why it says b'dam pnimim, we're talking about. So we say Wednesday, it's talking about dam pnimim. What are you saying about the dam chitzayim? It's potter. At the time, dam manishvachim la'amal leflik b'didah. Right, the brisa that we had just quoted, we said dam hatum yisoid, they do need kibbutz and machshav ba'elsben v'amal mem b'chutz chayv. So we're saying it's talking about the mizbeach hapnimi, the dam hapnimim. And that's why the shirayim are mechaper and they're ma'akev. But then Bryce continues, it says, Dam ha'nishpachim la'ama ain't unun kibbutz. Why do we have to talk about Dam ha'nishpachim la'ama, which is dam pasul, which is dam that never was in the klisharis? At the time, Dam ha'nishpachim la'ama liflus b'dav, and med v'amurim b'dam ha'pnimim, al b'dam ha'chitzayim potter. Let's say the dam ha'chitzayim are potter. Why do we have to get into the dam ha'nishpachim ba'ama, which is even a weiter thing? That's the least kaddish of anything. So Gemara Hamani, this brisa also Reb Nechemia is also going to Rabbi Nechemia the Amar Sher Adam Shekrivim B'chutz Chayiv. We know he holds for sure that Shekrivim B'chutz is Chayiv, and he might even also hold. We're arguing about that, whether he's going to say the same thing Lagabi Kibbutz. And therefore, Masale Tlasa Pluri Turi Labahadi Tlasi Chiyubi. We don't, according to Rabbi Nechemia, some of these things are going to be chayiv and some of these things are going to be potter. So we don't want to say the damim of chutz, because dam of chutz it's not going to all be the same legabi kibbutz and chutz and pigel. It's not going to be mechuyev pigel, but it might be. It's going to be, but according to Rabbi Nechemia, it will be chayiv maybe b'chutz. So we didn't want to split it, that some of the three are going to be chayiv and some are going to be potter. We wanted to say, like we said, the dam hatum yisoid, which we understand to be pnimin, they're all going to be chayiv. It's all ma'akiv. And then we wanted to say something that they're all going to be potter on. So we couldn't say, since we're going according to Rav Nechemia, this Bryce is Rav Nechemia, we couldn't say the matnas dam hanishpachim befnim. Zakt Gemara. Ravina Amar, he has a different way of answering the question. Ravina Amar minakeren means minakeren mamish. That means Rav Papa's, when we had said on Amud Aleph, on Amud Beis, I'm sorry, Dam Anitzes Minatzavor, l'tamech min hayisoid and eton kibbutz hamin haroili yisoid ton kibbutz. We had brought the Mishnah that says midan atzav al-bagad and eton kibbutz min hakaren min hayisoid and eton kibbutz. So we had a problem. How can you say min hakaren and then darshan? But before it got to the karen, it does need kibbutz. But then that means min hayisoid. It means also min haroili yisoid is ton kibbutz. It means shirayim needs kibbutz. So we said that it was Rav Nechami. Now we're going to say a different text. We say min hakaren means min hakaren if you take actually from the karen. Min hayisoid, but min hayisoid means min haroili yisoid. So it's you can't be medayik that when the Mishnah is saying that min hayisoid is ton kibbutz, it doesn't need when you say min hayisoid, it doesn't need kibbutz. It doesn't mean that which is actually on the yisoid, but it means the shirayim that are about to go on the yisoid. Why are you switching it? Why are we saying one is talking about minha that minha karen is mamish and then minha yisoid means that which is royal yisoid? Why are you interpreting the Mishnah as having different ways of understanding each word? So Gemara, hi mai hashta royal karen amrit loy royal yisoid mibaya. He says because once we said that that which is already on the karen, I'm sorry, if you're saying that karen means royal karen. And we're saying that which is royal karen, the dam of the three nesinas that come after the one that's mechaper, we're saying that it's not going to have a din kibbutz. Royal yisoid mibay, you're going to have to say that the shirayim, there would be no havamina that should be that should need kibbutz. So therefore, karen must mean not. In order for the second part to be a chiddush, it has to be on the karen itself, which is after the zrika. So we tell you don't need kibbutz. And one might think maybe the shirayim now it gets reinvigorated, it has a din, it has to be poured on the yisoid. Maybe that needs kibbutz because it has an avoid that needs to be do it. So therefore, el min hakaren shmamis min yisoid min haroil yisoid. So therefore, in order for there to be a chiddush in the second din of the Mishnah, it makes sense to taka interpret the two phrases as meaning different things. So back to the Mishnah. We had said the din of the Nesinas Dam, that Machlokes Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel about the Nesinas Dam of Achatas, all karbanos, the first Nesina is Mechaper. Beis Shammai says you need two by Achatas, and Beis Hillel disagree. But everyone agrees, all the Nesinas of the Mizbeach HaPnimi, meaning the Par Helm Dava Shel Tzibur, the Par Koyin Mashiach, all the different parim that are brought, they have Zerikas Bifnim, or in that case, all of the Hazoyas, all of the Nesinas Dam are going to be Ma'akav. You need all four of them. So the Gemara is going to ask him, obviously, where does that come from? Tanarban. So we have a long brisa. Va'asa, kasha asa. Va'asa, kasha asa. This is a pasuk in Vayikra Dal Chaf. The pasuk says, Va'asa lepar, kasha asa lepar achatas. You should do to the par. We're going to go through this pasuk in great detail in this brisa. You should do to the par just like you did to the par achatas. Kenya asa loy, v'chipar aleim hakoyim v'nisachla. So let's see the Rashi on this, because he's going to say what the drush is. Va'asa kasha asa. Zak Rashi b'par halam davar shel tzibur. It's talking about the par. We remember, right? We learned about that if Sanhedrin made a psak and everyone followed it, and it was turned out they were mistaken, there's a special par halam davar shel tzibur, and there's hazoyas that are done bifnim in the heichel as opposed to being outside on the main mizbeach. And the pasuk says, "La'achas pirish by kol matanos damai." This pasuk, Va'asa kasher asa, is after the Torah had already listed out in great detail exactly what the matnas dam. Right, you have to do 7 matanos toward the paroiches, toward the curtain in the heichel, and you have to do 4 on the kronos of the. We have to do on the kronos of the mizbeach hapnimi. Then the pasuk says, "Va'asa kasher asa." You should do on this par like you did for the regular parchatas, for the other parchatas, meaning, I think that means for the par koyin Mashiach, which was previous to it. This is all an unnecessary pasuk. All avodas already explained in the pasuk, and now we're saying you should do for the par helm davar tzibur the same as you did in the par chatas. Chutz miseres hakovich she'akloishu tzarich l'umoid b'parak. Okay. So that's the Gemara's. So that's the pasuk. This is a pasuk on par helm davar shel tzibur, where the pasuk says you should do like you did by the par kohen Mashiach, and Rashi points out that the pasuk had already been explained exactly what to do by the par helm davar shel tzibur. So we learned. What is it coming to tell you? The Torah already told you what to do. It's coming to make a kefil that whenever we know in Kachim, whenever if the Torah only says something once, it's a mitzvah, and you have to be shana of la'akav. You have to say it twice in order to make it li'ikuba. So this is the shana. So we have a pasuk here to tell you it's li'ikuba. So this is the source for the Mishnah that you need all four hazas. So we only have one limit here. All this will tell you is like we said, there are two separate hazoyis, two separate sets of hazoyis b'fnim. One is 7 toward the paraychas, and the other is 4 on the keren, the matan dalid, on the kronis of the mizbeach hapnimi. So how do you know that of the mizbeach hapnimi? And the Gemara tells you why we would prefer that this shel sheva is because shema akas b'chol makom. The Gemara is going to explain in a minute where we see that sheva is ma'aka b'chol makom. But in any case, how do you know matan dalid? Talmud loyma kein yasa. The pasuk has a lot of extra things. It says v'asal apar kasher asal apar chatas, and then it says kein yasa. You're doubling the doubling. This whole thing is extra, and then you add extra words on it at all. It says generally you have to do like you did before, and then it says kein yasa on top of it. Lepar, and then it also says another extra pasuk. It says kein yasa lepar. We know what else are we talking about? We've been talking about a par the whole time. Why did it say kein yasa lepar? That par Yom Kippurim. That's coming to tell you not just the par helm davar shel tzibur has to be done with all of its hazois ama'akev, and it has the same din as the par chatas, but the par Yom Kippurim also has the same dinim that that you have to do all these hazois and the omak. And it says, then there's again the pasuk repeats itself another time. Kasher asal a par. Ze par kohen Mashiach. That's coming to tell you that the par kohen Mashiach that it said previously that also has the same din that all of its hazois are ma'akav.
So we kafel lashon,
and then we be careful it to add on the other parim hanisrafim
that you see by other places.
They also have that
that the 7 shpritzes are
the 7 and the 4.
Okay, we're not going to get to the 4 yet, right? But the 7 older spritzes that we're talking about over here.
We're talking about all of them. Yeah. Once we said Eli Elishmat and Sheva, Matan Dal Minaim, so once they would say they were Ma'akav over here, then it's going to be Ma'akav in all the other places as well. Bring these other in as well. Then it says Hachatas. It also says the actual word Hachatas. What we've been talking about Hachatas all the time. Elu Siri Avodas Kechavim. That's telling you the Siri Avodas Kechavim also. Yachal Shanim B'Haber Af Siri Regalim. The Siri Rosh HaChadashim, maybe I'll also include the Siri Chatas that you bring on Yom Tov and the Siri Chatas you bring on Rosh Chodesh. Meaning, these are all Chatoyis Tzibur. These are all part of the same category. There's a limited amount of Chatoyis Tzibur. These are things that bring a kapara for the whole Tzibur. So maybe whatever is brought as a Chatas Tzibur you should also need matnas pnim that are ma'akev. Talmud Leimer, loy. That's Vasa loy. Vasa pakasha asal harchatas. Can you asa loy? The actual loy is just to it. It's coming to be moitzi these two seirim, these two chatois. It's like tomorrow maros l'rabba seilu hoitzi seilu. Why did we pick all these different parim, the par kayin Mashiach and the sira avodas kechavim, the par Yom Kippurim, and say all of them are going to need all the hazayis b'fnim la'akev, and the sira regalim and the sira chodesh don't need these hazayis b'fnim, that they should need these hazayis. So tomorrow, all these things are similar. He's talking about where we know that the Avera was done. That means a par helm davashal tzibur is where the tzibur did something by mistake following the Sanhedrin. The Sir Avodas Kechavim is where we know that the tzibur was over Avodas Kechavim. Par Kohen Mashiach is when the Kohen Gadol was over. But although the chatas of regalim on the Yom Tov and Rish Chodesh is also for a mitzvah, it's for a avera, for a kapara for an avera. It's talking about an avera that we're not sure that anyone was over. It's talking about tumas. And if anyone happened to have been over on tumah, these are machaper on it. But it's not that we know someone did it. So if we're gonna include together with this pasuk, which is by par helm davashal tzibur, we'll include the other ones that are on specific chatais that we know people did, and we'll exclude the ones that are potential averes that people might have done.
Don't they have a different name like Osham Toloi? You're not sure that it was done. Or is that part of the category of chatas?
The Osham Toloi is for I think it's for
Personal, no?
specific. It's right. It's for personal chatayas where the person is not. What is it? He's not sure if he was over on something that would have been mechuyev. Asham, is it?
Well, he doesn't know if he did it.
It's been so long. He doesn't know if he did it. But any chatas that he doesn't know if he did it.
Chatas he did it by mistake, but he knows he did it.
Anyway, those are. Anyway, I have to remember. But anyway, it's not talking about. This is talking about karbanos tzibur, chatas tzibur.
This is only about Korban Tzibur.
Yeah.
We're flying for them now. We're inside, right? Because the 7 and 4.
This is all tzibur.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though the Kohen Gadol is also tzibur.
I'm answering. I'm like, I'm not sure. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
So we continue with the reading the pasuk. V'chipar aval pi shalei samach, v'nisach aval pi shalei nasan. The pasuk also says v'chipar. All this is extra, so it says v'chipar v'nislach. So v'chipar tells you even though there was no smicha, the smicha is not ma'akav. V'nisach aval pi shalei nasan shirayim. And v'nisach tells you you're not going to, even though you didn't give shirayim, you're still going to get a kapara. Zok the Gemara. Why are we saying that the hazoyis are going to passel if you don't do them, but the smicha and shirayim will passel? Amr poisel ba'azoyis she'makzes b'chol makom machshani b'smicha shirayim she'makzes b'chol makom. I'm going to b'derech klal smicha shirayim and smicha is never makav. So by the chatas smicha, so this chatas primus, it's also not going to be ma'akav. This is the Manda Amar who says that bifnim shirayim is not ma'akav. We said there is a Manda Amar who says it isn't. This is the Manda Amar who says it is. Okay, I'm afraid we're going to have to stop over here. I really thought that today, since we had such a short Amud, I was going to get further, but the voting system in New York did me in.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.